49ers Coffee Talk. We're your hosts, Cohn and Sybilla Bakzaza. I've been looking for a name for this show for a while, and we've been going pretty early. This is the earliest show on my channel, 9 a.m. Wednesday. Wednesday's the start of the Wednesday's basically the start of the week for a football team, and we get started real early. So this is 49ers Coffee Talk. You know,
love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're gonna
let's do it.
We're gonna talk a lot about the Dallas game and how it bodes for the upcoming game against Green Bay. We're gonna break down the Green Bay game, talk about injuries and stuff. But I want to talk first about Jimmy. Jimmy Garoppolo is hurt again, Sybilla, and it's the same. It's just like the same pattern. Plays poorly, doesn't say anything. Next day, actually, he got hurt in the first half, and it's a big reason why he didn't play well. And we don't know if he's gonna play this week. Like, asked straight up, he was like, we'll see. And then yesterday, they had a practice. It was a walkthrough because it's Tuesday. It's only a couple days removed from the game. He was not a full participant in a walkthrough. I couldn't see if he ever threw a pass. I will find out today if he can throw a pass. But I guess I'm not asking you to like predict whether he's going to play or not, because that's impossible. But just what do you think of like this whole drama?
Well, this is exactly has been the concern for Jimmy. It's why we drafted Trey Lance. And as we sit here in the postseason, not having played Trey Lance, putting all our eggs in the Jimmy Garoppolo basket.
And now he's hurt.
It's painful. Yeah, it is a painful reminder of exactly what the concern with Jimmy Garoppolo is. But here we are. There's nothing that can be done at this point. He has to play. I mean, it's such a big order to ask Trey Lance.
Why does he have to play? Can you explain that?
Yeah, because of the lack of development of Trey Lance. It would be one thing to ask Trey Lance to play the Texans, to play the Cardinals early in the season. But here we're going to Lambeau Field to play Aaron Rodgers, who is, for all intents and purposes, he is in his prime. And a really good Packers team that is really looking for a little bit of revenge against the 49ers. You know, we've dominated them in the recent memory, the last 10 years in the postseason.
So it's not fair to Trey, but isn't it fair? Let me just argue with you for a second, for the sake of argument. Devil's advocate here. Isn't it not fair to Jimmy? He's hurt, literally hurt, injured in two places.
It's definitely a good point. And I'll be honest with you, it's why he wasn't at walkthrough practice, because it's a sprain. And mobility, and it creates inflammation. They have to keep it loose. But to be honest with you, the best thing for Jimmy Garoppolo would be to do nothing all week. And that's not a good way to prepare for a divisional game.
And that's the thing with Jimmy. I have this stat, like when he's not fully prepared for a game, he's done it 4 times, played without being a full participant in every practice leading up to the game. It was the Miami game last year. He threw 2 picks and got injured in the first half, left. It was the Indianapolis game this year. He threw 2 picks and lost. It was the Rams game this year. He threw 2 picks and won. And it was last week where he threw 1 pick. So he's done this 4 times and thrown 7 picks in those games. To me, I'm not even concerned about the injuries as much as the lack of preparation. Like, if he starts without practicing this week, you can almost bank on at least 1 pick in Green Bay.
And that's the issue. If he will be less healthy. If he does not practice, he's going against Aaron Rodgers. So it's kind of like poison at this. It's just a bad place to be in. But that's why I always say it's not always the best team that goes to the Super Bowl and wins. It's the healthiest team. And that's really where the 49ers are. They are reeling from injuries right now. This is not a good look for this week.
They were so healthy just a week ago, but now the quarterback, the defensive end, the middle linebacker, it's week to week, right? So look, I understand that you said they got to start Jimmy. And if they were to start Trey this weekend, I think I would feel like, man, this is really unfair to Trey. Like, now you need him to start in Lambeau in the playoffs and save your season when you could have been preparing him for this moment. But at the same time, I think Jimmy's looking at it like, well, I don't know how Jimmy's looking at it, but you could say 2 injuries. He's not even that great when he's healthy. And my issue with Jimmy is the reason he's playing experience. Because he's supposed to make smarter decisions. You can't trust Trey Lance's football IQ at this time. But we're going to talk about the quarterback sneak later. It might have been too cute of a call. Still, nothing excuses Jimmy Garoppolo not being able to execute a shift. And I know he can execute shifts because he does it all the time. To me, that's a man choking under pressure. It's the play. It's like the last play of the game.
Because one of the things you look for when you're under center on a shift, right? And you see every quarterback, they sit there and they watch the shift.
Yes.
He never looked at the shifts. This was Jimmy the whole time.
He signaled the shift, right? Like, He's like, okay, Trent, you go. And then you're supposed to freaking watch him, see him get set, count to one, then call for the snap. I mean, look, I didn't play
And the
football,
thing is that
is
Trent Williams was a millisecond away from being set. It was so bang bang. It was like, did they really just call that? So and then I was like, I guess they have to, but it was so close.
You can't trust Jimmy's brain under pressure.
Exactly. And that was such a horrible feeling for Trent Williams. You could just see the guy's the greatest tackle who's ever played the game. And he doesn't make mental errors like this.
No.
So you need that kind of brain in your quarterback as well. And, again, it's not that Jimmy cannot execute it. You said it yourself. Of course he can. But it's in the moment. Jimmy tunnel visions. It's why he missed Ayuk deep on third down. It's why he threw these boneheaded picks, because he tunnel visions.
And what did Kyle say after the game? He said Jimmy got a little excited. Well, that's what Jimmy got upset about. He was like, Kyle said that, because what it means is he crumbled in the moment. The moment was too big for him. Is what
right.
And that's how I feel about Jimmy. I think the moment's too big for him.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where when I saw the shift called, I was like, what are we doing? I was thinking, why are we calling a shift? There's no way they can stop Jimmy Garoppolo on less than a yard. They probably couldn't even stop him with a 2-yard sneak. And I'm just thinking,
it's one thing to be like, wouldn't it be crazy for Kyle to be like, look, I want to call it with a shift for XYZ reasons, but I'm not going to do it because I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo to execute a shift in the fourth quarter. That's crazy.
Right. It's like putting a marksman on the hill who misses half his shots, and then you're surprised in a mission, and then when he finally misses a shot. And no, a good leader knows what he has, and he doesn't put his guys in the position where they have to use their lack of skill set. That's really what it was. That's where I'm kind of like, I want to put the blame on Jimmy as far as like he should not have done that. It's dumb to just sit there and watch Trent Williams.
It's dumb.
It's dumb. As far as Kyle Shanahan, my question for you is: are you surprised?
Yeah. Why are you surprised? That's fair. But all I want to say, and I know Trent. Well, I don't know who's going to start this game, Sybilla. I'm going to put it that way. I don't think Jimmy's going to start practice very much this week. I think Trey Lance is going to be practicing in the week. And if Trey Lance looks good and Jimmy's hurt, I don't know what's going to happen. And all I want to say
Trey Lance is the simulated Aaron Rodgers, so I guess he's just
telling you, he's not. There. He's not doing scout team this week because Jimmy's not practicing. Trey Lance is doing first team, and scout team must be Nate Sudfeld. You see what I'm saying? Trey Lance is getting the rep this week. If he looks good and Jimmy's hurt.
So here's the question for you: if Trey Lance looks like he's executing, would you go with him?
Yes. And I would have went with him the last 2 weeks for a few reasons. One, Jimmy is hurt. He's hurt. He's got 2 injuries now. He's not even particularly great when he's healthy. And again, he's not up to the moment. He's been clutch in regular season games, but he crumbled against the Vikings. They wouldn't even let him participate against the Packers 2 years ago. He crumbled against the Chiefs. He crumbled against the Cowboys. His career quarterback rating in the playoffs is 73. He can't execute a simple quarterback sneak or a shift with the game on the line. I don't trust him. I don't see his experience, his age. None of it seems to manifest itself on the field. And I think I actually would trust 21-year-old Trey Lance's composure and football IQ over Jimmy's. I would, but that's just me.
I think one of the things that Trey Lance has working for him is, as they say, ignorance is a bliss. And I just don't think the moment would actually be too big for him. To be honest with you, a lot of people would say Trey Lance will have too much pressure to go into Lambeau, pressure at all, because there's no expectation for him to actually win. He has every excuse on the table. And I just feel like the kind of mindset that Trey Lance has, he would go into that game pretty humble. He might lay an egg, but I don't think he would. I honestly don't. It's just one of those things. These are huge roulette-style decisions for Kyle Shanahan to make.
When he started against the Texans a few weeks ago, that was a playoff game. Had the Niners lost, everything would have been over. So people forget there was a lot of pressure on Trey Lance. Now, it wasn't a good team.
That has more pressure in some regards because now you're in the tournaments. That's all he had to do, and he got that for the team. And it's one of those things where everybody works so hard all season, and then they turn to Trey Lance and be like, we need you to push this one in for us. 53-man roster. Now it's on you. If he
lost in that game, I mean, people would have looked at him as like, man, he's a bust. Kyle's an idiot. First of all, they wouldn't have made the playoffs, and next year would have looked really bleak. But no, he played really well. He kept the Niners. They blew out Houston after being down at halftime. He was not phased at all. Blew him out. And then Jimmy comes back, and they had an overtime game against the Rams. They had a game against the Cowboys that felt like an overtime game. Oh, boom, is she gone? She'll be back. We only got through one topic today. Oh, she's gone. She's back. Yo.
Yes,
anyway.
We're here. Had a little glitch. I lost you for a second.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we've done enough. I would say I would start Trey Lance, but again, if they did start him, I would be nervous. I'd be like, man, this is a lot to ask for the kid. But I also feel like it's a lot to ask of Jimmy. It's a lot to ask of Jimmy.
It is a lot to ask of Jimmy. To be honest with you, the only thing, regardless of who starts, if Trey Lance was to start, one of the ways we dominate the Packers is with physical run game. He would bring more of that to the table.
Agree, especially if
I mean, he didn't pass at all. In what was it, 8 passes in the last time he faced the Packers?
Yes.
So Sudfeld could have thrown 8 passes. He probably would have completed at least 4 of them. So and the Niners didn't need any of those passes to win. It was all the run game. So Kyle Shanahan could slow this down. I don't think the Niners are in danger. That's my point. If Trey Lance starts, they'll just take the ball out of his hands and put it in Mitchell's, and they will have him run as well.
It's easier to run 40, 45 times with Trey Lance because I don't think you can do it with just Elijah Mitchell and Debo. You need a third ball carrier, and it's not going to be, it seems like it's not Jeff Wilson Jr. right now. So it's not Garoppolo. It could be Lance. And the thing is, in the snow, those outside runs that require one hard cut may not be as effective. There may be a lot of slipping on the ice. So you may need guys who just bang it between the tackles. That's Trey Lance. I mean, that's what he does.
And Jeff Wilson might be good in this game as well.
Yeah. All right, Niners Dodgers says, thanks, Grant, for the nonstop 49ers football coverage. Thanks, Sybilla, too. Brady Hill says, let's talk Trey being the best option. Yeah, Brady, let's talk about it. Grew up in MN straight from North Dakota State. Old dogs are sore in cold weather. Also, M is the GOAT. Enough of the slander. Sorry, I was telling people how I'm not a big Eminem fan yesterday. He has a couple good songs, though, from like 1999. But anyway, what I'm saying is...
Without me?
Yeah, old dog sore in the cold. I don't know, man. It just seems to me like he's been really, really rusty without practice. And I can't see the Niners beating the Packers if he goes and turns the ball over. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the comments because Trey Lance should know something about playing in the cold. North Dakota is miserable when it comes to cold weather. I mean, that's like Idaho at that point.
Now, they played the Dome, but I would imagine they played some outside games around there.
Well, some practice. And the other thing is, where did he play high school ball? Do you know?
I think he played in Minnesota. I think he.
Okay, so he's ready to go. He's ready to go.
He is. Yep, absolutely.
Now, Jimmy Garoppolo knows something about cold weather as well. But again, it's the injury. So I definitely.
And again, if Trey Lance plays in this game,
serious the sprain is.
If Trey Lance plays in this game, it's not going to be because Kyle Shanahan makes like a surprise decision. It's going to be because Jimmy's not healthy enough to go. And what Jimmy's telling me right now is he doesn't know that he's going to be healthy enough to go. Like he was asked this was interesting. You can go back and listen to the press conference, but a couple of people, Matt Mayoko first went, first of all, Jimmy, like, do you think you might play in this game? And then second of all, here's a second question. And Jimmy just went straight to the second question, didn't answer the first one. And then Chris Biederman did the same thing. Do you think you're going to play? And then what about starting 3 and 5? And what does that show about the resilience? And he just went straight to the second question. Then Tracy Sandler had to say, Jimmy, are you confident that you're going to play this weekend? And he said, well, we'll have to see. So he avoided the question. Then when he was asked point blank, he said that. So, I mean, I'm sure he'll probably want to play. He wants to look like a tough guy, but it's clear right now he wants people to be on the edge of their seat and hoping and wishing that he comes. I don't know. I feel like Niner fans should be like, please just take the week off, dude. Please. You're in pain.
Again, Green Bay is not about the passing game. That's not how we're going to win them. It's going to be the rushing. Here's the thing. If I give Aaron Rodgers 6 possessions a game, I guarantee you he scores on 3 of them, 2 touchdowns and at least a field goal.
Thank you.
But let's give him 3 touchdowns on 6 possessions. That's 21 points. Yep. In other words, you have to keep him on the sideline. If you start playing shootout with him, you will lose. Plain and simple.
Exactly. And I think that basically the Packers are going to get no less than 24 in this game.
Absolutely.
That's the magic number.
And I out to the first quarter and at least put 7 on the board.
Yeah, and they got to limit the possessions, as you said. I don't know what – I wanted to look it up, but like what percentage of the Packers' possessions this year did they score touchdowns on? I bet you it's a really high number. So 8, 9 possessions. In
regards to possession, there are a couple of statistics here that do favor the Niners. Their red zone defense is not good. And our red zone defense –
yeah.
Right, and our red zone offense is number 1.
Voice ad agency says, you called me out in the Cohn phone about being optimistic with Jimmy Garoppolo in the playoffs. I am not anymore. Playing with house money at this point, start Lance. Yeah, man. I mean, to me, a lot of people wanted to praise Jimmy for what he did for like, certain throws he made in Dallas. But to me, the only reason Dallas had a chance to win that game was because of Garoppolo. The only reason.
The Niners left 34 points out there. They really did. That was insane. He played horribly. There's
that's how I saw it. But people were like, "Oh, they won. Just
no
be happy."
interpretation.
And people were like, "Oh, but they won. Just be happy." Like, no, like they won a wild card game. They got a lot more to go. This team really should win the Super Bowl. Like, let's make sure that let's hold them to the highest standard until they win.
Oh, the roster is as long as we get Bosta back. This is a Super Bowl team. Absolutely
loaded. Absolutely loaded. Good morning. Can't wait. Starting Lance. See, I'm saying everyone on my channel. Everyone on my channel is on the same page with this one. We just want to party. Says, I've noticed Jittery Jimmy is starting to get a little more comfortable. He's moving up in the pocket a little and trying to make off-schedule plays. It's true. And he did avoid sacks. That's like the best thing he did against Dallas.
And credit to the O-line as well. They did keep a pretty good pockets. He had a lot of time sometimes.
That offensive line has really improved ever since Mike McGlinchey got replaced. I mean, I wonder if
they're doing the gelling. Yeah. They may not be the best names in the NFL with the exception of Trent Williams, but they gel. That's the thing. It's a unit now. And I think that's very indicative of how 49ers offensive line in history plays. They may not have the biggest names out there, but they are good units.
And there's not one liability on that offensive line. We thought Tom Compton would be a liability. He's an asset as a run blocker, and they can mitigate his weaknesses as a pass protector. Same with Brunskill.
We've been saying that all season.
There's one liability.
We've been saying just don't put them in positions where they failed. Use them for what they are. And it seems like the Niners coaching staff has figured out how to use the run blockers and the pass blockers and interchange them on the downs rather than leave them out there. But the issue I really think is McGlinchey. When you have a first-round pick out there, you are forced to play him on both downs. And that affects basically like a domino effect, how you can interchange the other tackles out there and guards.
When McGlinchey was in the field, the Niners had 2 liabilities on their offense. Now that he's out, they have 1 liability on their offense, and his name is James. John says, Grant, thanks for an amazing season. Much love. Go Trey. Thank you, John. Much love. Kyle, treating Jeff Wilson Jr. like Breed at 0 carries. Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, run more. What happened to the 40-run magic number? I like that. We should be aiming for that every week as opposed to, I don't know.
They got something like 67 yards back early in the season in the matchup with Green Bay, and they barely lost that game. That's just not the recipe for success. Right. They have to run Jeff Wilson. They have to.
Trey Lance was reportedly running scout team as Aaron Rodgers. No, I was there. Okay. Matt Barrows was asking questions like, hey, what are you guys requiring from Trey Lance this week as a scout team quarterback emulating Rodgers? And basically what the Niners were saying was like, Trey Lance isn't running the scout team this week. Trey Lance is running the team this week. Jimmy Garoppolo isn't practicing, at least today. That's what they didn't say it, but they were like, because the press conference was like an hour before practice, and they were basically like, just wait until you see what's about to happen. Like, no, Sudfeld is running the scout team this week. Maybe Jimmy comes back and is a full participant by today or Thursday. We'll see. But for now, he's working through things, as Jim Harbaugh would say.
Yes.
Jimmy is Joe Biden. The gaff is coming. It's coming. Sometimes it's hilarious. Sometimes it's just sad. I can see it. See what you mean. We're not going to get too political. That just pisses everyone off. Doesn't matter how well Lance looks in practice. If Jimmy is healthy enough to play, Shanahan will go with him. Great.
Well, there's no doubt. If he thinks he's healthy enough to play, he will play him just because it avoids the controversy of if he brings in Lance and Lance does not do a good job, then all of a sudden it's bad coaching. Right. Essentially, why did you play
bad decision? Bad decision.
Yeah. Why'd you throw him to the wolves? You put him in position to fail. Right. So if Jimmy can come in here, Kyle can be like, well, it was obvious who I had to go with, and Jimmy was just made a few bad plays. That's how it's going to go if they lose.
I would like Kyle to have a quick look with Jimmy, though, if Jimmy does play. If Jimmy plays and he looks rusty and injured, get him out of there because they can win without passing. They could win. They've already beaten this team in the playoffs throwing 8 times. They could do it again. The reason I say Trey Lance isn't because I think Trey Lance is going to go off against the Packers. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. I just want a quarterback who doesn't freaking lose the game. And Jimmy is on a mission right now. The team is he's over there trying to lose this, and everyone's saving him. And then he gets to ride out in the sunset like he won or something. But 7 picks. He's on 5 picks in the last 3 games. I don't trust him against Aaron Rodgers. The reason they haven't lost is because Stafford, the quarterbacks last year have offset his picks. Stafford threw 2 when he threw 2. Prescott threw 1 when he threw 1. Rodgers didn't throw a pick in this game. He hasn't thrown. I think he's thrown 20 touchdowns and no picks in his last some games. I mean, it's crazy. It's not going to happen. Sorry.
Exactly. The only way the Niners are going to force a turnover is on fumbles. And there is a real possibility of that as long as they can get after him.
You really think the saga of Jimmy Garoppolo ends here? Whenever we think it's over, it's just getting started. Your dad would say, think like an English major. All right, I've been thinking about this. If Jimmy beats Aaron Rodgers in this game, he might be coming back next year. Because think about it. Then his camp could say, well, the 2 seasons that he's been healthy and a full-time starter, and it's a championship. Right?
Exactly. Right? Yeah. If he wins this game, he will be back next year. I honestly think so.
I think so too.
The only way he's not back next year is if they can flip him for a first. Because
I don't think they can.
Well, right now they might have a second for him. They might have upgraded themselves to a second. And if he wins this game, they definitely get a second for him. But maybe they get some of those hungry teams out there that have new regimes, that need a quarterback, a bridge quarterback, a starting quarterback, whatever you want to call him. And they're able to flip him for more. It depends on the capital they get back. But first round is going to be really hard because of his injury history. And the fact that he has the thumb and the shoulder going into the playoffs, that's really, Jimmy is punctuating his career with a period right now.
That's right.
Instead of a comma.
No, an exclamation point. Like, you're in injury prone. Boop. Like, oh, he's trying to say,
double exclamation point.
Injured. You're injured again. This is your 5th injury in your last, 25 games? Something like less than that. I mean, it's just waiting to happen at this point. But if he does beat the Packers, I don't see how the Niners can. It's just a lot of pressure on Trey. Because again, if the Niners go to the NFC Championship with Jimmy, then they're saying, okay, well then we're gonna go to the Super Bowl, and Trey Lance's first year as a starter. It's a lot of pressure on him. I don't think they want to do that to him. But anyway, be interesting to see. But what I want to say is I've never seen a quarterback win a playoff game and have his trade value go down in the same day. I've never seen it happen. But I think Jimmy did that.
It's very possible because anyone who was watching that game knows that the Cowboys melted down. They had 14 penalties that I believe it either ties or sets their team record for a playoff game. Yeah. They led the NFL in penalties, so it was nothing. They did stupid things like back-to-back false starts. Yeah. They were tackling our tackles instead of the running back. Right. I mean, I've never seen a worse coached unit in my life than the way Dallas played that game. Yeah. When I was sitting there watching that game, I was like, so Dallas is better to Deebo Samuel. If you look at the rest of our wide receivers, they're better at their receiver core. They aren't better at running back. They are much better at quarterback. I think they had a better defense all around. They forced the ball. They have a much better special.
They couldn't get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, Sybilla. Couldn't get the ball. You see what Troy Aikman said?
No, I did not. What did he say?
He said, man, I don't understand coaches these days. He's like, if I was a quarterback, if that was our day, CeeDee Lamb would have had 10 catches by halftime. They were playing off him, but Kellen Moore is like so obsessed with scheming guys open. It's like, man, you got CeeDee Lamb one-on-one against whoever that cornerback is. Would you give him a chance? Troy Aikman went off on Kellen Moore.
What I saw from Dak Prescott is really what I saw from Mac Jones in his season, and that's that they were waiting for guys to be open rather than throwing them open.
Right.
You have to throw with strategy as a quarterback. It's not about scheming them open all the time. When you have a cannon like Dak Prescott, let him challenge the corners. And the other thing is we lead the NFL in pass interference. Why not let us decide our own fates? You know what I mean?
The only concern I would have with Trey is him taking 2 quarters to get going. They can't have a 3-point half. Jimmy had a 3-point half too.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah. Jimmy had a 3 and out in the first quarter turns into a touchdown for Aaron Rodgers.
Who's gonna have a better first half? The guy who practiced all week or the guy who didn't practice and has 2 injuries? I mean, there's
a point there. Yeah, there's a point there. And then the other point, the reciprocal of that is who's going to have a better first half? The guy who is in the system and has the experience, or the guy who has played 3 football games in the last year and a half, 2 years?
It's not a good decision. It's not a good place to be in.
No, but the Niners have put themselves in this position. They went, instead of going all in, they went all out with Trey Lance.
But again, Sybilla, like the Niners aren't going to win this game because of their quarterback. They're going to lose.
No, it's going to be the run game. It absolutely is. It will be the run game, and because we come up with 4 sacks.
So what I'm thinking here is not which quarterback is going to win the game, but which quarterback is less likely to lose it. And I think that Jimmy is a arsonist deep down inside, and that Trey's not. So I'm not thinking like I don't need Trey to go out there and be freaking 20-25 or 4 touchdowns. Like, nah, dude, just be 6 of 8 with no interceptions, please, and run 10 times. That's what I'm saying.
He already demonstrated to the Packers what he can do.
Yeah.
with that rush into the end zone. And what was it? Was it Jair Alexander got absolutely beast moded by Trent Williams?
Believe so.
Yeah, we need to do. We do need to turn this into a run game. So basically, what we're saying here is that we feel that Trey Lance would be a better starter.
Yeah, because to me, I feel like the Niners can win the game just doing exactly what they did 2 years ago. They can run the ball 45 times and win. It's not about their quarterback. The only thing that concerns me this week is Jimmy losing the game, even when they're running the ball well, playing good defense, and they're asking him to do nothing. I mean, he still finds ways to throw picks and mess things up in the fourth quarter. I'm worried about him losing the game. And I guess I would understand people being like, well, what about Trey? It's a big stage. I see it. It's a tough spot for the Niners. Still, it's a good spot that they have these running backs.
The other thing is, too, Colin Kaepernick ran over Aaron Rodgers before, and it wasn't about his arm. It was about his legs. And Trey Lance, perhaps he can do the same.
I'm going to say something crazy, too. I can't prove it, but I think Trey Lance would have blown out the Cowboys. I think he would have. I can't prove it, though.
So the wide open miss to Ayuk, the stupid shift, and the interception. Trey Lance would have thrown an interception, but he would not have missed. I just don't think he would have missed Ayuk. That was a layup. That was a layup. To miss that pass took effort.
And that was the original play that would have put the nail in the coffin that did. I mean, and
that's what put Fred Warner out there for his little boo-boo that he apparently needs some ice cream for. But anyway.
Also, I'm good with the Trent Williams motion. If you watch the replay, Dallas D-line started shifting as well, giving JG that opening, got to execute. Yeah, to me, I'm sure Kyle had a good reason for it. And like, dude, Jimmy, you got to be able to execute a shift with the game on the line. You're supposed to be, icing. You're supposed to be like Jimmy Ice. Yeah, cool, calm, and collected. Franchise quarterback. Got a little excited with the game on the line. That can't happen. Are you familiar with?
No, go ahead. They should have been in cruise control.
Are you familiar with Eric Thomas, the motivational speaker? Google him. Ever since he was in the 49ers building, the D-line has been even more on fire. I'll check him out. Are you familiar with him?
I know who Eric Thomas is, but I did not know the Niners. So that's cool.
I'll probably recognize his face if I saw it. What if the injury is to throw off the pack fake? So he's not practicing just to throw off the pack. That's 40 chess.
Yeah, I get the point. So Jimmy Garoppolo probably doesn't tell the press everything because Kyle Shanahan has told him to zip it. So there's that element. But the injury is real. Him not practicing is not in our favor. Even if you wanted to split first team reps, some strange dissemination of reps. But the fact of the matter is him not practicing is not strategy. It's injury.
Jimmy Garoppolo is serviceable when he's fully prepared. When he's not, he's a liability. That's the word. It starts with an L, liability. Jake says, even though Trey is not ready, they need to play him. He can do everything Jimmy can and more. He can stress the D deep. Anyway, great content, you two. Thank you.
Love it.
Jake's on Team Trey. Team Lance.
So far, everyone wants Lance, and I can understand why.
I think Jimmy gives
people... Just don't hold it against him.
Watching the Niners right now is torture. Remember the Giants back in the day? Like Jimmy is the relief pitcher, the pitcher that like loads the bases every inning and then gets out of it. It's like, did you have to put guys on second and third? Did you have to walk the leadoff batter every freaking inning?
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's dramatic. Jimmy Garoppolo is like, really is. He's like Spike TV. That's really what it comes down to. By the way, that was the most watched wild card game in I think 7 years, like 45. All because Jimmy Garoppolo
kept the drama going. All because of Jimmy.
Yeah, because everyone was texting. Do you see what this guy is doing?
Jimmy's like, I can hit Ayuk and just put this game away in the third quarter, but then the ratings would go down. I need to do this for the league. That's why he missed Ayuk. It was for the league. It was so everyone can make money. He's a businessman.
Very charitable. Very nice of him.
Jimmy G's quarterback rating in the fourth quarter of his 4 playoff games is 19.4, worse than the NFL in 30 years. That stat is courtesy of Josh Dubow with AP. That's true. That is a man who is not up to the moment. I'm telling you.
Well, maybe he's just a starting pitcher. You should take him out in about the seventh inning.
That's right. He can give you maybe six innings.
Yeah, but he's like a long reliever.
Can't wait to see Jimmy without Kyle's offense. Yeah.
Well, that is a great comment, and that could be a whole show in itself. But we have said it all season long. Kyle Shanahan is his Band-Aid. He schemes guys open. He slows it down. He has a great O-line. He has a great run game. These are things that can make any quarterback look good.
Robert says, seems like most people in the Cohn zone are pro Trey. I don't see this as much outside of the Cohn zone. Grant influencing and selling that narrative. Well, I just feel like the viewers of this show are just a little bit more
erudite, intelligent,
enlightened.
more
Yeah,
sagacious.
that's right. So I don't know.
Actually, there's another reason for that. As a fan, you have two kinds of fans. One who's just a fanatic, doesn't want to hear that the world is about to end. Yeah. And then you have the fans that are like, I love my team, but what's the real scoop? And that's and the people who just want to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
When they want to drink the Kool-Aid, they go to somewhere else.
That's true. Because the Kool-Aid drinkers are like, I love the team and I want to celebrate every decision they make because everything they do is right. And the people here are like, I love the team, but everything they do is not right. We know what the Yorks have been doing since 2003. We're going to help them make the right decision because they're quite not. That's where we are all quality control. Quality control is a way of life, right?
Absolutely.
It's a way of life. As much as I would love to play Trey, it's not the right time as I think it's lack of mental preparation, although he definitely has the talent to win. I hear you. It's really not fair to be like, hey, Trey, we told you you weren't ready all year, but
yeah, Neil's right.
Now it's time. NFC Championship game, you're ready. Like, whoa, that's kind of messed up. But at the same time, dude, your starting quarterback's hurt. How many injuries does Jimmy Garoppolo have to have before you say, you know, this is why we brought in our backup quarterback, so we don't have to play injured Jimmy, who isn't good? I don't know. It's a tough one. Not my decision to make.
Exactly. It's one of those things where no one should ask Trey Lance to do this, but we may have to. So we'll see.
Yeah, Gio says, I'm worried about the departure of D'Amico McDaniel. SF is the only team in the NFL with 3 head coaches in-house. This is their window, but Jimmy caps them. Yeah! Wow, good point.
That's a really good comment. D'Amico Ryans, he'll be here for another year or two. I think, honestly, 2. I really do.
It's not right. He's good. Because, again, I want to come back to race, but if he was white, I'm sorry. He has the Mike Vrabel resume. Vrabel was a coordinator for 1 year. His defense ranked like 30th or something. Boom. Head coach. D'Amico, coordinator for 1 year, defense ranks 3rd. People are like, we're going to have to see a little bit more.
Exactly.
Why?
Now, I would say this, as far as his career path, like Salah, I do think it behooves him to spend another year or 2 here. I think it makes him better. Sure. I look at someone like, say, Dan Quinn. You look at guys like Brian Flores and everything like that. You know, a lot of guys who just got head coaching jobs so early and they just didn't adapt to it in the first few years, and it just did not work out. It's just, I feel like
natural leaders are natural leaders, and that's Vrabel and that's D'Amico, in my opinion. Those guys are natural.
Right, D'Amico is special. There's no doubt. D'Amico fell from the Salah tree. You can tell. Yeah. It's really
he was a leader on the field. He was a leader. I mean, he's excelled at every level of football, from playing to quality control to position coach. Like, he's really paid his dues. Anyway, what I wanted to say was the Cardinals, if they were smart, would fire Cliff Kingsbury and hire D'Amico McDaniel.
Coach.
Terrible.
They would absolutely. He's a terrible coach.
And bring in D'Amico McDaniel, because what the Cardinals lack is physicality. They don't have it. They're like Madden. They're a Madden team, and that's because of Cliff. To bring in these 2 guys and then add that to Hopkins and Kyler Murray, that team would be a contender right there. So, and also, don't forget about the Cardinals. I picked them to win the Super Bowl and they fell off, but they were 8-2 with DeAndre Hopkins. The Niners, what would the Niners be without Debo?
They fell apart at the end, though.
Yeah, it's true, but like, this was the first
time
that
the head coach.
Hopkins ever missed time. This was the first time
the head coach
ever missed time. Yeah, no, they got to fire that dude. Forget that.
Yeah, I've been saying it since he was there. He's terrible.
Please, all you Jimmy fans defending him as Jimmy Jesus. No, not on my watch. More like Jimmy Judas. Watch clips of Montana and Young. That is our standard. Drop back, throw middle, give me a break. Jimmy Judas. You know what? I think it has a certain ring to it. I like it.
Oh, no.
Fire ninjas too. So if he says that, Sean is, I think, the most Christian person on the channel. I'm just saying. So I'll allow it. I mean, if he'll allow it, I'm going to say it. Jay Rico says against Dallas, our first drive.
Jimmy was called years ago.
What?
There were fans who were calling Jimmy Garoppolo or Messiah like 3-4 years ago.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy Jesus. That was a little over the top. Against Dallas, our first drive only had 1 second down, and then we scored. Do you think we can script our first drive like that against – so the first drive was Kyle at his best. Second drive, passes. More passing, and then field goal. Can you stop passing, Kyle? You're allowed to run all the time. It works.
Yeah, he definitely gets cute at the end of games. Like he's like, okay, I've got you beat. Now I want to humiliate you.
Yeah. It's like just put the game away and win 23-10.
The most humiliating thing is when you win.
Giving up.
And that's what humiliates the other team. Yes. Don't do it. It's passing.
Is Jimmy's injury more gamesmanship at this point to make Green Bay prep for 2 quarterbacks? I
No,
don't think
no,
sitting
it's real.
it's real. I mean, like we're gonna have Jimmy not practice this week just to throw off Green Bay. Like, no, Jimmy needs practice time. His
Exactly.
track record without practice is bad. So this is the Niners being like, well, at least Green Bay won't know who we're gonna. They're like trying to. It's a silver lining here. Like we don't know who our quarterback is gonna be, but at least they won't either.
Exactly.
Trey Lance played in Fargo. It's cold as hell there. Play the kid. Yeah, but it was indoors. But I'm sure he played, some games.
The other thing is Jimmy Garoppolo knows how to play in the cold. I will give him that.
Yeah, I would think so. It's true. He's from Chicago, which is very cold. What's good, guys? What side dish would Jimmy G Khaled be? We know Debo defense and run game are the 5-course meal. Okay, Jimmy G is the green bean casserole of the Thanksgiving dinner. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. The green bean casserole. I don't know why people say it's their favorite dish, but they're lying.
No.
He's the green bean casserole.
That's because like it's somebody's aunt or uncle or mother or father made it, and it's a family recipe, but it's garbage. It was garbage in 1902, and it's no good today.
Thank you. Justin says, will Lance pull a Kyler if he plays in Green Bay? He's proven to show stress till he calms down. Will he live up to the moment? That's hard. Good question. But what I'm saying is I would trust 21-year-old Trey Lance to be more cool, calm, collected, and have a higher football IQ than Jimmy. I know that there's like you can be nervous about Lance because he's young. I'm nervous about Jimmy. Him being 30 doesn't seem to help him. Him having experience in the playoffs doesn't seem to help him. He still isn't ready for the moment. So that's maybe there's no right answer here. But again, I think the Niners can win handing off. So I just want a quarterback who doesn't lose the game. Is that so hard? Is that so much to ask? I think it's a lot to ask from Jimmy, though. I think it's a lot to ask from Jimmy. It's not his game. He's a terrible game manager. He's a terrible game manager.
Absolutely agree. Yep.
Debo runs to the outside would be more effective with the threat of Lance keeping it up the middle. It would hold linebackers for an extra second degree.
Yep, absolutely. That's kind of what you're saying. If he goes into this game, it's going to be a run-heavy game. And I'll say this. I don't think he does come out and lay an egg. I think Kyle Shanahan draws up the best RPO, play action, screen pass, keep everything short of 10 yards, and then he schemes Ayuk open on a deep route or Jawan Jennings in a red zone pass or something like that. I really think the game plan for Trey Lance would be lethal, especially against Green Bay. We would just punch them right in the mouth.
Andy says Trey's athleticism alone opens up the run game 1,000 times more, which is how we beat Green Bay 2 years ago. If Jimmy Garoppolo starts, how short of a leash will he be on? I think it should be extremely short, but we've seen that he has the longest leash of all time.
The other thing is Jimmy Garoppolo might come out in the first and the second quarter and be really good, like in Dallas. But then in the third quarter, you'll start to see things kind of come apart. And then, that 19 QBR in the fourth quarter? Then that will come out. So you don't change your quarterback in the fourth quarter. That's the issue.
Jimmy is the unsweetened Jell-O auntie used to bring. Ooh, that's just... My aunt never brought unsweetened Jell-O. That's sad. Rank them. Wentz, Jimmy G, Baker.
I mean, I'd have to go right now. I'd have to go Jimmy G, Baker, and then Wentz.
I know. My thing with Jimmy is he doesn't throw the ball down the field. He turns the ball over too much. You can't trust his football IQ. Jimmy's football IQ is shockingly low. But to me, those three are all in the same
for a
tier.
guy who seems smart in an interview, he's really not that smart.
Look, I'm not commenting on
Cosmo Kramer. No, I don't find him that bright.
I have no idea. But all I know is his football IQ seems to be lower than any quarterback I've seen in a long time. But I don't think anything of Wentz and Baker either. I think those three are basically overpriced starters that you'd rather not have. All three of them.
Yeah, I think Wentz was a bad move for the Colts. I think Baker has shafted the Browns. I think Jimmy G has propped the Niners, but he's like a crutch. And we're limping along with him.
He's playing like Trent Dilfer right now. And I don't know if in 2000 in Baltimore, people were saying, Trent Dilfer is the reason we're winning. We got to keep him around. I think it was pretty clear back then that they were winning in spite of Trent Dilfer. And now, just because Jimmy Garoppolo looks like a movie star, people think that he's actually contributing. He's just doing the Trent Dilfer thing. Trey should have started since Houston. Jimmy was hurt, inevitable, and now we may have to throw Trey in the fire without those reps the last 2 weeks. That's how I feel. The dude was hurt. Jimmy's been hurt, and he didn't play well in LA or Dallas. So I don't see what the benefit of playing hurt Jimmy was, but hey, I don't know, man. Maybe Trey Lance would have blown it. We'll never know. We'll never know.
So basically, you're saying at this point, the sample of Jimmy Garoppolo the last 3 weeks has been bad football.
Yeah. 5 picks, 2 touchdowns, 5 picks the last 3 weeks. And his fans will say, like, well, he had a couple throws here on third down that, enabled the rest of the game to happen. No. He was the reason that those games were close.
Yeah. And I think the 49ers are going to end up going with him because it's the status quo. Yeah. I really do. It's one of those things where, well, this is the way it's done. The book of football says to play Jimmy. And I think they're just railroad vision. I don't even think they will even have to make a decision.
I agree. But if Jimmy Garoppolo just happens to be hurt and they just happen to have to play Trey Lance like they did against Houston, might be for the best. Because again, the game plan is to throw 8 passes. It's not about the quarterback. It's just about don't throw an interception. That's your goal. That's your job in this game as a quarterback. Do not throw an interception because Rodgers won't. He's not. I mean, Dak did. Stafford did. Rodgers won't. All right, we need to move on to our second topic. We're 40 minutes in. So we just dumped on Jimmy a lot. What did you think of Kyle Shanahan's performance in Dallas? And do you think he needs to perform much better in Green Bay? Because to me, I think it's unfair to ask Jimmy to perform better. He performs the same every week. Kyle's the one who has variations.
Yes. The worst thing about Kyle Shanahan, I think, in Dallas, in the Dallas game, is he came out firing, pedal to the metal, full on the gas, and then he just backed off of the game plan that was working. He's one of those guys where I feel like if the offense sputters one time with his game plan, he gives up on it and he switches to something new. He doesn't necessarily stick to himself. Now, Kyle's also a genius. He also sees things that perhaps we do not in the defense, and he reads the defense and things like that. Yeah. But as far as his coaching, I am so uncomfortable with the 49ers in any fourth quarter situation. Whether it's the Super Bowl with Kansas City, whether it's that Dallas game. And I'll be honest with you, Dallas is going to run 5 vertical from the 25-yard line or so. If I was betting, I honestly thought Dallas was going to win that game. I said, once they got it there, they'll get a pass interference and they'll get a shot from the 1-yard line. Game over. I mean, that whole situation came around really on the lack of skill of Jimmy Garoppolo, missing Ayuk. That third down where he missed Ayuk, that would have put the game away.
Yes, in the third quarter.
It's not just a false start. But, okay, so Jimmy wasn't looking. He did not get him set. But for Kyle Shanahan to be surprised at the result of that and say Jimmy got excited. Well, you're his coach. You've been with him for years.
Yeah, he gets excited.
That quarterback sneak works. There are sometimes, if the soup is done, don't add any more spices. There was no point. I've seen a few people say, well, they saw something in the defensive line, get Trent to the right side. No, they didn't need him. The only place that Trent would have made a difference is up the gut. If he's on the outside, Jimmy's going straight forward anyway. This was all about Kyle Shanahan having to put his signature on the death blow. Mm-hmm. And that's where Kyle Shanahan, I really hope he realizes, keep it simple, keep it safe. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. So as far as the way he coached the game, there are a few questionable things. Also, DeMeco Ryans, I have an issue with the way he coached as well. Final drive.
Hold on, real quick. Before we go to DeMeco real quick, because that's the next topic. I just want to stick with Shanahan.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's stay on top.
I thought he passed too much. I thought this was another game that they could have easily hit 40 runs. And again, why are you not trying for that? That's your goal. 40 runs every game. And the first drive, they just went down easily running the ball.
There was a couple of things on running that they did not do well. First off, going to the outside, Dallas played the edge really well.
Well, Micah Parsons is really, really athletic. So I'm just saying, he could
even though he's not that tough.
No, but he's very fast, and he could go sideline to sideline, and he was a good athletic match for what he was going to do.
Absolutely, he's like a
But still, the run game was working.
Elegance, quick.
The run game was working, and the fact that Kyle's like, well,
you know what the run game was working? The run game was working between the tackles. That's where they should have just kept pounding the ball up the middle because Micah Parsons, D-Law, and Randy Gregory are no match for the muscle of Elijah Mitchell, Deebo Samuel, and Trent Williams.
Like the pick.
Keep the ball going up the gut.
The interception was on a second down, up 9. Like, what are you doing, man? Why do you trust Jimmy? You don't trust Jimmy.
It's just like when Raheem Mostert in the Super Bowl on first down picks up 5 yards, and on 2nd and 5, they never run it again. This is classic Kyle Shanahan. That has to change. Green Bay is on paper, Green Bay's easier matchup. Kyle Shanahan has to get away from this pass-happy 3rd and 4th quarter, If he has a lead of 1 score, he can beat Aaron Rodgers if he manages the clock. And it's the clock management and the inability to stick to what works. Actually, Kyle Shanahan, like, I'm gonna give him a B- on this game, only because he won. But as far as like if he'd lost, I'd give him a C+.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's gonna have to do a lot better. I don't know if I trust him.
Where are some places you think he can immediately improve? Like, what's the most fixable issue, do you think, for Kyle Shanahan? The way he called the Dallas game going into this
It's so simple. It's all this one thing for him in this game. Like, it's all about how much you're going to run the ball. Because to me, there was no reason to turn to your passing game against Dallas. They win if they just run the ball every single play in the second half. Like, that game would have been less close had they just run the, and that's not glamorous, and he doesn't want to do stuff like that, but it works. And if he just doesn't do that against the Packers and has, you know, random drives where he's pass happy, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. There's one way they beat the Packers. They've shown it. Run the ball on them. They can't stop the run. Just run. It's so simple. But if you put the game in Jimmy's hands, you know what he's gonna do. That's all I'm saying. So I'm nervous about Kyle. He's erratic. Some games he'll be like,
absolutely. I'm really comfortable.
Pardon? Part what?
Yeah, I'm really comfortable if they go for 40 rushes this game. I really am.
They will win if they hit 40 rushes, and I think it's totally within Kyle Shanahan. It's all up to Kyle. Green Bay's not going to stop the run game. Kyle's going to stop the run game, or he won't. There's some games that he's totally determined.
Yes.
He's like, we're hitting 45. I don't care. And then there's other games where he's just like, we can't this week. We can't. It's like, well, yes, you can. What are you talking about? This week you can.
Kyle Shanahan has to abandon the idea that LaFleur is on the other side. He has to beat him his way, not beat his guy. It can't be personal. It has to be non-flashy, and it has to be sticking to the run game.
Agree.
And the other thing is, I think Dallas is better at defending. Excuse me. I think they are better at defending the rush than Green Bay, as far as like the physicality of Micah Parsons really is an X factor. I really think that if the Niners stick to the game plan that they had in the first half in Dallas, I think it will be more effective against Green Bay.
Yep, agree. Real quick, Jimmy says, Flav says Jimmy's 20-6 on the road, best win percentage of all time. Trey's 0-1. Not a knock on him, but can you really blame Kyle for going with what's worked? If you can't trust Shanahan at this point, you're fair weathered. First of all, I'm not a fan. Second of all, Jimmy's hurt. He's injured. He's injured and he's not practicing. What's his winning percentage when he's injured and not practicing? It's 500. What's his TD to INT ratio when he hasn't practiced all week? It's not good. So I'm just saying, I mean, at what point is Jimmy Garoppolo not fit to play? It doesn't look like he's playing his best the last few weeks. What's his quarterback rating?
I understand Flav's intent, but you just dropped some facts that kind of prove why we're having this conversation.
I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo were fully healthy, it'd be a different conversation, but he's not.
If Jimmy Garoppolo were fully healthy, we would be saying we have to stick with him because that's where the team is gelling right now.
Yeah, you don't switch at this point. Scotty says, what about TY is scaring Shanny from starting him? Who's TY? TL? TY Hilton? Him being a rookie. Trey Lance, him being a rookie. How is Jimmy G's career different if he hits Manny Sanders in the 2019 Super Bowl? I mean, it's totally different, and he didn't. So I don't know. How is Jimmy Garoppolo looked at differently if he executes a shift correctly on a quarterback sneak? Differently. I mean, you have to – I don't know. Like, he didn't do it. Had he done it, he'd be a champion. I mean, I think some Jimmy Garoppolo fans are like, well, that's fluke. You know, that's a fluky throw. It's a make or miss league, right? And they say that
that throw was as far as like in the moment was similar to that third down to Ayuk. Wide open, missed.
Jimmy Wyatt says Jimmy G is awful. No cap on a stack, no kizzy on a jaw. People have been saying that a lot, and I feel old because I don't exactly know what it means, but I like it. All right. We talked about Kyle. What do you think about D'Amico's performance against Dallas and how that bodes entering his second matchup with the Packers? Lost the first one. And it was his fault.
D'Amico did a really good job, but D'Amico has one weakness that has not changed. Aaron Rodgers exposed it early in the season with 37 seconds left.
Yep.
It's not just the players. It's not just the secondary. It is 80% D'Amico Ryans. In a hurry-up offense, which is like less than a 2-minute drill.
Yep.
He's lost.
He's lost.
He doesn't have a plan now. So let's go. Let's give D'Amico his due first.
Yeah.
First off, Nick Bosta going down. my mind is Omenihu.
Right.
That's who I'm giving it to. Either him or Mosley, who got 10 tackles and 40, some big game moves by them. But what did Omenihu end up with 2.5? Is that what he got?
I believe so.
Yeah, so. And I mean, he was basically like coming in for Bosta, basically, and just how can you expect a guy? Okay, you're down, Bosta. I got you for 2.5. That's unheard of. So
one
that
and
was
a half. 1.5. Armstead had one. DJ Jones had
one.
one.
So they split the other.
Yeah,
okay, got you.
Yeah. Yep.
But he was just all over the field, and he made some great tackles as well. DeMeco is really good at doing stunts. There were a couple of stunt calls to the inside. So for those of you who don't know what a stunt, four-man front, one of your linemen, like your edge rusher, is going to step back and kick out behind, like the nose tackle or something like that, and make a swim move or just go untouched to the inside. The Jimmy Ward pressure, Jimmy Ward choked on that blitz. That was a great call by DeMeco. I don't know how Ward did not get after Prescott. So all game long, DeMeco was just different looks. It wasn't just 4 ball rushing. He was asking his guys to kick to the inside. It was really well done, Eric. Armstead was given a sack from that. They were basically finding ways of disrupting Dak Prescott's mental clock. That's DeMeco. It's not just the players. It's DeMeco and the players. Did a really good job of that. Flash forward to the end of the game, and there are less than 2 minutes left. There's a whole lot less time than that. And he started defending the sidelines. Who does that? In over 100 years of football, we all know that when a team is trying to get into a Hail Mary situation and they have no timeouts left, you let them have the middle of the field. Right. Because if you tackle them, the clock's running. The deeper they throw it, the longer it takes to get down there.
The sideline, right? 3 straight throws, right. 3 straight chunk throws to the sideline. I'm like, what are you doing?
Right, and they were like an I don't know what you call that, I formation for the defensive backs. You had them playing deep, one behind the other, and they basically in the middle of the field, they were just division. And so what did Dak Prescott do? 3 passes, moves the ball past midfield to the sideline, 14 seconds left. 1 tackle, the game in the field, the game would have been over.
Yeah, that's right.
1 tackle. Yeah. But he gives them the sideline. I'm thinking to myself, DeMeco, you did this with Aaron Rodgers as well. What are you doing?
Yeah.
This is like middle schoolers know better than this.
Yep. You're right.
And of course, what happens on the last 2 plays, DeMeco goes, oh yeah, they don't have any timeouts. Oh, right. Okay. I'll defend the sidelines. Yeah. So he puts them in I formation basically on the sidelines, and basically you had 2 corners deep on each side. Yeah. And he's like, have the middle of the field. And so they call it draw, which I get what the idea would have been as far as having 5 vertical. But I said, you run that draw, see what happens, and we saw what happens. But the point is, if he'd done that before, Dak Prescott would never have even gotten close to where he ran that draw play.
Great. Serene. And if Jimmy Garoppolo could have executed a shift, that never would have happened. But yeah, DeMeco got exposed a little bit on a drive that shouldn't have happened. He needs to clean this up because Rodgers saw that. And Rodgers will score in that situation.
And Rodgers has already exploited DeMeco.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. I feel like DeMeco's game plans level. I feel like his adaptability in the first 3 quarters is above average. Mm-hmm. I feel he gets panicked in 4th quarters. And I think that if there's a weakness to DeMeco, it's his ability to react within a single drive. He doesn't seem flexible within a drive. And it's not something that a lot of people are good at. It's not a knock that DeMeco is not worthy of being our DC or a head coach. He absolutely is. But it is the biggest weakness. And it's a weakness that I see specifically from him.
Serena says, do you think Shanahan was afraid to run more on Dallas because of their ability to cause and recover fumbles? Run predictability equals eventual fumble. Maybe, but to me, Dallas is better at intercepting passes than forcing fumbles. So
it's going to say that. If there's one thing they are afraid of, it would be throwing picks.
That's the way I saw it.
Honestly, yeah. Dallas should have had a 2nd pick in that game.
Yeah,
that ball popped up a few times.
And it's like, their track record intercepting passes. Jimmy Garoppolo's track record throwing interceptions, and he's hurt. When you were up 9 in the second half, dude, why are you throwing on 2nd down? Like, you should be extremely conservative here. What are you doing, Kyle?
Exactly.
Sup, hater. Jim has fooled you again. He's going to let Trey start and stink it up before coming out at halftime like Willis Reed in 70. Fire and rescue. Fire and rescue. That's hilarious. Love it. Yeah, maybe he's trying to get, I think Jimmy's trying to get the fan base to really want him to start. And the fans are like, maybe you should take a week off. I don't know. Don't call us. We'll tell you. It seems like our defense consistently the last few weeks can't get off the field when we have teams in 3rd and 12. Is this on DR or poor execution?
It is poor execution by some of the defensive players. Remember, our secondary is really not that good anywhere. I'm sorry. I don't like our safeties. I don't like our corners. They get exposed. If they go up against tier 1 wide receivers like Devontae Adams, it's not going to be a good day. The guy's averaging, I think, 124 yards per game. That's where it is on 3rd and 12. I think it's individual player execution. D'Amico doesn't want to sell out for the blitz on 3rd and 12. He believes in his 4 to get home. He might bring a 5th person, drop the safety down or something like that. But for the most part, he is putting it on his guys to execute, and they are not. But
Ray says,
even still,
sorry.
No,
Ray says no cap equals no lie, no kizzy equals no kidding, on Ja equals on God. I knew on Ja, I knew no cap. No kizzy is new to me. I've never heard anyone say that ever in my life.
Yeah, I haven't either. Where's that from, kizzy?
I don't know. All right, Nick Bosta and Fred Warner are injured. Both might play. If they do, they'll be less than 100%. Nick Bosa got his bell rung hard. I mean, he was falling
DJ Jones,
first.
right?
Yeah, he was falling face first and got kneed in the face. It looked a lot
like,
and
he didn't see it coming. That's the thing.
It looked a lot like the Trent Cannon one in Seattle. Now, Trent Cannon left on a stretcher. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't as high velocity, but got his belt. I'm not even sure he's going to play in this game. If he does play, he'll be less than 100%. Same with Warner. Warner was down I thought he tore his ACL. And I couldn't believe it's just an ankle injury. Like, wow. Okay. Wow.
Oh, my God. Oh, as you probably saw.
Was he just being dramatic, or are we not getting the full story here?
Okay, so first off, we won't go into too much mudslinging at Warner. I think people know my opinion on Warner's manhood. Regardless, I have never in my life seen anyone scream or cry above the age of 12 on a minor ankle sprain. Never. I've seen a 14-year-old when I was playing football yell the F word because he was pissed it was going to take him out of the game. But he was rolling around on the ground in more pain than some of my comrades do when they get shot. I've seen guys get shot who just sit there just gripping it and more pissed off than in pain. And Fred Warner put on this thespian, theatrical, Shakespearean performance of pain. And you know what I said at the time? I was easing up on Fred Warner. I turned to my father and I said, that's a guy who's missed one game in his career. Yeah. He might not be strong, but he's tough.
Yeah.
And I was like, for him to be in that much pain, his knee must have spontaneously combusted.
It was like I thought
it
was non-contact.
His MCL, and then all of a sudden, like less than 5 minutes later, he's jumping up and down on the sidelines.
It's like what?
Fred, what? Okay, so
remember Paul Pierce?
He had a little boo-boo, and I think someone needs to go get the little boy some ice cream.
I think the same thing that happened to Paul Pierce 10 years ago when he everyone thought he blew out his knee and they carried him out and then he came running back to play. He was like, what happened to you, Paul? You were good the whole time? Oh.
All right. As a 49ers fan, I'm sitting there, watching it with the Ravens and an Eagles fan, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, that's our starting linebacker. Yeah. It was embarrassing for him, for his name, for his girlfriends, or his fiancée, I should say, and the team. But regardless, let's go back into, now the emotions are out of the way, going into his ankle. It's a low-grade ankle sprain. He's a guy who should not practice at all. Fred Warner knows the playbook. He's the smartest guy on the defense, might be the smartest guy on the team, honestly. Mm-hmm. It's not a guy who needs to practice. He knows how to beat Aaron Rodgers. He can sit in the film room. This is a guy who just needs to keep his ankle iced. And I mean, he should be icing it 4 times a day. He should be sleeping with no wrap whatsoever, his foot out from under the covers. They need to baby this thing and see where he is on Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
We do need him because remember that the first play after he comes out, Dak Prescott attacks his replacement where they double coverage to what is their left, his right. And that was the wrong defensive reaction. And they let a guy get uncovered. And that was not the safety's fault. That was, I think, was it Al-Shair's fault? He was supposed to cover that guy. You know the play where they scored their touchdown, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Right. So that's the issue. Is Fred Warner's really important with quarterbacks that can dice up your defense with accurate passes. Aaron Rodgers does not want to see Fred Warner out there. I think we can survive without Bosa. I think Omenahu is inspired. I think the rest of the guys on the line, DJ Jones, Eric Armstead, Ebukam, the rotational pieces we have, I really think they can hold this fourth down. We are deep. I don't know if it's even ethical to ask Bosta to play on Sunday. It's a brain injury. Let's put that out there. Mm-hmm. What are the long-term effects if he gets his bell rung one more time?
Right. Also, it's not up to the Niners or Nick. The whole thing
it's
in the
concussion
NFL
protocol. Yes.
It's not about how big the game is or how important the player is. It's an independent concussion protocol. If he's not
ready. But let me say this. I don't always believe that the medical professionals in the NFL have the player's best interest at mind. If Tom Brady was in question on Sunday, they'd clear him.
Right, because they don't have the clout to that takes a lot of power, right? Hey, Tom, you're not playing. Sorry. You had to, because it's probably a little bit of gray area. Like what you have to report.
Here's the thing. NFL is a business. Not having Brady play is bad business. Rodgers not playing, bad business. Bosa is still a superstar. So I want to say there's going to be a little lenience to the concussion protocol, but I think the Niners need to also look at this realistically.
But what I want to say, I'm with you. I think Bosa will probably play for the reasons you just stated. But I think if he plays and Warner plays, they're going to be less than 100%. And that's going to be a factor.
And is that good?
I mean, it's not good for the Niners, no. But it's not. I mean, it doesn't mean they're going to lose. I mean, it's definitely a factor. I
think Omenahu showed that a 100% Omenahu is better than a less than 100% Bosa. He could be. And again, if we can get through this game, where I do think the matchup is really good for the Niners. The Packers are a great team. They also match up well against us, particularly Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers. But as far as their defense versus our offense, as long as we stick to the run game, I think we can sack, metaphorically, Aaron Rodgers by taking the clock away.
Flav says no rookie has ever won a Super Bowl, but people think Trey Lance would. He's so raw still. Why did the Niners trade up for a raw quarterback when they're such a quarterback away from winning the Super Bowl? Such a Jed situation to be in. This kills me, man. So Trey Lance is raw, but Jimmy Garoppolo misses Brandon Ayuk wide open down the field, can't do a shift and a quarterback sneak with the game on the line. If Trey Lance did that, Jimmy fans would be like, see, he's raw. He can't play. He's not ready. But Jimmy does things that are not even rookie mistakes, but like sub high school JV mistakes. And people are like, well, he still gives you the best chance to win because he's 30 years old. AJ nothing but a number.
The Jimmy hate is a game by game decision in this fan base. I think it's kind of like if he has a good game, then it's like, well, he's a veteran. He has a bad game. Well, we have Trey Lance. It's bottom line is we are in this position because of bad historic management at the quarterback position. Next year, I think the decision is really obvious. I think they should move on. 6th, 7th round, draft a quarterback that has a big arm and is mobile, very raw, somebody that can back up Trey Lance so that the game plan is the same, kind of like Lamar Jackson and Huntley, basically. But as far as this year goes, I mean, I understand why people can say that Trey Lance is raw, but you can't tell me Mahomes would not have won a Super Bowl his rookie year.
Jimmy is raw.
Right.
Jimmy has the lowest football IQ of any starting quarterback.
Jimmy's not raw. He's just not good.
Yeah, but his weaknesses are like he makes rookie mistakes all the time.
Right. And I guess my point is like raw would be giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's young and inexperienced. But when you're not young and you are experienced, then it's a lack of execution. He's not raw anymore. He's just not good.
Exactly. And
I'm not saying he's bad, but bad Jimmy is really, really bad.
Yeah. And Flav says no rookies ever won a Super Bowl, and that disqualifies starting Trey. Well, how many starting quarterbacks who lost in their first Super Bowl appearance went back and won? Very few, and they're all
it's really hard.
Hall of Fame quarterbacks. John Elway, like Jimmy's not a Pro Bowl quarterback. He's never been to a Pro Bowl. He's not going to the Hall of Fame. Like he would join a very, very exclusive group. So I don't see how. That you can't start a rookie quarterback. Well, you can't start a non-Pro Bowl quarterback who's lost his first Super Bowl appearance. Same thing.
Yes.
Historically.
And the other thing is just because it's not done doesn't mean you can't do it. That kind of thinking is not good leadership, and it's not progressive at all. Just because other people fail does not mean you win.
I think it took the Niners this long to get Deebo Samuel at running back because you just don't play your wide receiver at running back. You just don't do it. And it took them halfway through their third year with Deebo to be like, well, you know what? That gives us our best chance to win. So why don't we just do it? Like if they had used Deebo this way in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, everyone would be champions. Trey wouldn't be on the team. Everyone would have rings. But it took them a while to figure it out. Anyway, I don't know how we got there.
Absolutely.
Bosa draws so much attention from a blocking standpoint. Chips blocks irreplaceable. Aziz and Greenlaw can hold their own, in my opinion. Yeah, I thought he was irreplaceable, but then he went down in the second half, and the pass rush literally didn't miss a beat. Literally.
No, they came in there, and it's like I said, I can't say Omenahu would have had a better game than Bosa, but he did, and he did a great job coming in for him. So even if on a scale of 1 to 100, Bosa's at 100, Omenahu's going to come in at a good 85 or 90. I don't think we're going to miss that much, and Dak Prescott's more mobile. So I think although Aaron the rush, I think than Prescott, and better at reacting. So he slows the game down to make up for his lack of athleticism, but still, I just think Bosa is replaceable.
Also,
Aziz and Dre Greenlaw, I think they did a pretty good job, except in coverage. But I think they do a pretty good job. I really don't think the fall off is extreme. I think Fred Warner is more irreplaceable in a Green Bay game than Bosa, just because of how deep our D-line is.
Also, Bosa's been wearing down. He started off the season really hot, and he has 1 sack in the last 4 games. So, we saw that the pass rush did not miss a beat without Bosa. Charles Omenihu is fresh. All these guys are fresh. Bosa's not. So, I don't think this is necessarily the death knell for the 49ers in Green Bay if he isn't himself.
Do you remember when we signed Omenahu, there were a lot of people who were saying, oh, gee, yeah, great, that will save the season. And everyone was kind of balking that. But we sat here and we were like, I think this is a good under-the-radar signing. He's not just good
if Chris Kosrick wants a guy, he's worth bringing in. Kosrick seems to know. Yep. And the fact that Kosrick wanted Arden Key should have told the Raiders everything. They should have been like, oh, and the fact that they didn't
want are wrong at every level.
Is Shanahan the best head coach remaining in the playoffs? No,
that's
I wouldn't
say that.
Great
question, but
no,
it's really hard to say that considering some of the track records of other coaches. I mean, Bruce Arians is still in the playoffs, and I'm not saying he's that much better, but he has a Super Bowl.
He didn't lose in the Super Bowl. I mean, yeah, I would have to say no at this point, but he has the potential, which is why people like him.
And honestly, with the exception of Tom Brady, the 49ers squad that lost to Mahomes is better than that Bucs squad. So the difference would be Tom Brady versus Garoppolo, huge difference. But also Bruce Arians, who knows how to put the game in the hands of the right players. Kyle Shanahan is more about taking the game out of his players' hands, like passing in the fourth quarter.
Mario, thank you very much. All right, last topic, and then we got to go. How do you see this game playing out in Green Bay?
If the Niners come out and stick to their bully ball, as they like to call it, and they come out here and they play physical and they stick to the run game, I think they win by a single score. And I want to say that score is probably going to be like 28-24, somewhere in that range. It might be 31-28. A really close score like that. The other way this could go is they try to go toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers, and he hangs 35 points on their head. Oh. And the Niners are going to be lucky to break 20. It's going to be a close win for the Niners or a blowout in favor of Green Bay. And that's what I think.
I'm with you on that. I don't think the Niners are going to try to. I think Kyle knows that his quarterback, can't compete, and I think he's going to try to do what he did in the NFC Championship game a few years ago. I mean, I would hope. Why would you do anything different?
I just don't think this game is too big for us, and I really, really respect the maturity of DeMeco Ryans and his defense. I really think Deebo Samuel and George Kittle could take the top off of Green Bay. It's very possible. It really is. They're going to have to stick to their run game, and they're going to have to make it work. If it doesn't work, game over.
Yeah. Sean says, Kyle, watch Bob the Builder be pumped for run game. Yeah. I'm with it.
That's cute. I like that.
Jordan says, Grant sounds like he got Omicron. I got tested yesterday, and I'm negative, so. I got my cootie shot. I don't know about you. I got my circle, dot. Now
Same here.
Yep. All right. Sybilla, that's our show. I'm not ready to pick a winner yet. I'm trying to draw out the suspense, but 28-24 Niners sounds pretty reasonable to me. Thank you, everyone.
All right, let's go, Niner fam. This is good. And by the way, just got to ask you a question. How about them Cowboys? Been waiting to say that my whole life. Okay, so I just have to give let a little steam out here on behalf of the 49ers fan base. Booyah, Dallas. You got what you deserved.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, satisfying. So satisfying.
It was crazy.
Seeing Jerry Jones up there, seeing Mike McCarthy staring at the screen. He's really good at that, by the way. Oh, it was so good.
And then watching basically national television in Dallas, ESPN, MSNBC, All the discussion is Dallas. Dallas choked. What about Dallas? Like, who cares about freaking Dallas? What about the team that won? And that's why we do well, because people want to actually hear about the 49ers, and you can't get actual Niner conversations anywhere else.
Yes. Did you see Shannon Sharp, though? He had his pound of flesh from Skip Bayless. It was great. Niners fans, I have some TikTok videos coming trolling Micah Parsons and the Cowboys, so check those out. Also, Stephen A. did a special, and I don't necessarily agree with it. He's really evil. Like, I like him, but he's dark heart. But he did a special on all of the crying that Dallas Cowboys fans did. But see, that's passion. Crying is okay. It's all right. But it's still just great that we beat Dallas. I love it.
Grant, how'd you like to visit Texas? Better now that I know that I didn't get COVID. All right, everyone, I got to go. Thank you for watching. Sybilla, thank you for doing this.
Go Niners.
I'll be back tonight with Jesse.
All right, sounds good.